Russell Watson is a compelling story. Here's a guy who came from the factory shop floor to become a global singing sensation. But at the peak of his powers, he was struck down by 2 brain tumours that really should have killed him.
There's been so many incredible ups and then there's been so many catastrophic downs that I'm not sure where we'd start. This is going to be my love life. It's going to be about my career highlights. This is Russell Watson, stripped bare.
I guess, Russell, most guests who come on here, I normally say, hey, how are you? In your case, it's kind of, you're alive. You know,
yes.
You shouldn't really be here.
No, and really that's how it feels to me at this particular moment in time. This show, it kind of earmarks a new stage in my career and my life, because I didn't believe that I was going to see another day, let alone another couple of years after the last operation. So this really is my comeback. It
is. I mean, you've been through an extraordinary thing. I mean, I've known people who've been through an illness or, you know, a disease, whatever it may be, but in your case, to be struck by 2 brain tumours. In terms of how you're feeling right now, how do you crystallise what's happened to you?
I crystallise it by thinking that the last 4 years have been hell. I finished my radiotherapy at the beginning of 2008. 25 treatments, and I just remember feeling dead. 2 years gone. I've worked, I can't begin to tell you how hard I've worked and strived to get my fitness back and also to get my strength back to be able to sing some of the toughest repertoire that's ever been written by a composer.
What side effects do you have? I mean, how do you actually feel now? Because I know people who've been on radiotherapy for that long, and it can have a really debilitating effect on your life, your lifestyle. But you look to me really fit and healthy, but are you?
Yeah, but I have worked incredibly hard at that. And as I say, when I finished the radiotherapy in 2008, I remember I felt absolutely appalling. And literally the day after, I remember the nurse saying to me, actually, the day I finished, she said, now, Russell, we know what you like, so don't be doing anything silly. You need to rest. you need to get your rest in.
Well, hang on, what's she talking about? I mean, women, or where are we going with this?
Oh, God, no. I didn't have the bloody energy.
You must have been ill. Are you cured? I mean, do you know if you're cured yet? Is it too early?
I don't think with the type of tumour that I've had, there's any such... I don't think there's such a word as cure, but I think I'm as well as I can be, and everything's under control. The radiotherapy has had a very, very good effect on what was left of the tumour, and that's shrinking away, which is great. And the main
it's still there, is it?
Well, I say it's still there, but I'm not going to lie. There is still something there. But it was in such a volatile area. It was right near my optic nerve and other things around this area that I can't pronounce. And so it took a lot of shifting, and what was left had to be basically zapped away.
Do you sit here today, having had it come back once, knowing there's something still there, however small, and do you worry every day that you may have to go through this again?
I used to. I think up until probably about 12 months ago, there wasn't a day that went by where I didn't think about my mortality. And I'd go to bed in the evening thinking that I wasn't going to wake up the next morning, which isn't a great way to put your head on the pillow. So as a result, I wasn't sleeping very much.
Do you have, like, a strict daily regime now of tablets and treatments and stuff? What happens?
I wake up in the morning. I have to flip 10 milligrams of hydrocortisone, because that basically, I'm a bit like an old car in the morning. I take a bit of kick-starting. I need an hour or so to warm up. So I have to take 10 milligrams of hydrocortisone, and then I take a load of other stuff on top of that, 10 tablets of various different types for all kinds of different things. And then at lunchtime, I take another 5 milligrams of hydrocortisone. And then in the evening, 5 milligrams of hydrocortisone. And then before I go to bed in the evening, I inject myself with 0.2 milligrams of growth hormone.
And why do you have to do that?
It basically stops me feeling rubbish. The hydrocortisone, in a nutshell, keeps me alive. If I didn't take it, I wouldn't be here.
You would die.
Yes.
Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Russell, whatever the musical snobs say about you in classical music, the reality is you're one of the most successful recording artists in classical music history. Russell Watson is the factory lad from Manchester, known to his fans simply as The Voice.
I think Russell's appeal is probably the fact that he comes from a working class background and he started late. And people go, oh my God, he was in a factory like 6 months ago. Listen to that voice. It's amazing.
He's one of us. He's one of the people. His background is a working class northern background, and yet from that difficult beginning, he's blossomed.
After being plucked from obscurity 10 years ago, the people's tenor has rubbed shoulders with presidents, royalty, and even the Pope.
I was getting out of a car in LA, and just as I pulled up, I got out, and there was this poster. It must have been about 200 foot high, and I slowly followed up, and here's Russ. My God, what's happened here? Overnight, he become this instant sensation.
When it comes to record sales, he's in a league of his own. His first album, The Voice, topped the classical charts both here and in America. After 52 weeks at #1 in Britain, it was knocked off a top spot by his second album, Encore.
He won 2 classical Brits in 2001 with The Voice and won 2 classical Brits for his second album. That's how much of a phenomenon he was. 1.5 million sales is a huge amount. That's in the pop realm, and for classical music, that's quite extraordinary.
It was at the height of his fame, aged just 39, that he suffered 2 brain tumours.
His family are at his bedside. They have seen him beat a brain tumour once before, and they're praying he can do it again.
I really was frightened that he was a goner. It was weird. I mean, I thought, who can survive this?
But survive it he did. After a 3-year battle to regain his health, is The Voice finally back? You're known to your fans as The Voice, and everyone knows your voice is magnificent. What I find quite amusing is when you explode into the classical music world in a populist way, you do tend to attract the wrath of the purists.
Yeah.
And in your case, I mean, you really did get it. How did you react to the allegation you were in sort of bad taste? You got a lot of snobbery.
It made me all the more determined. It was one of those things where...
Did you see it as a class thing, that classical music traditionally is a kind of middle to upper class thing? And there are you, this brash young working class northern lad, and it really pisses them off.
I'll have them.
Is that how you felt?
No, it wasn't. I didn't feel like... At that time, I didn't feel like I was proving a point. But what I did believe, I remember specifically when I went in... I got my first record deal with Universal 10 years ago. In 1999, I got the deal. I remember walking in, and my whole pitch... because I didn't have a manager at the time, and my whole pitch when I walked in was that I knew I'd been singing classical music in working men's clubs for about 4 or 5 years, and the reaction that I was getting from the bloke off the street, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, was amazing. And these were the people that wouldn't normally walk into the classical department of HMV
So you felt
and
you'd
order
become
a
like
Bach record.
Yeah, so you become like a bridge to that audience.
Exactly,
to
yeah.
classical music.
Yeah,
well,
and
they're all
I broke all those rules.
Yeah, but here's what I think one of your problems was. I think that you came along, and in the classical world, they're kind of understated.
Yes.
They are, you know, they're respectful, they're quiet.
Yeah.
They pay tribute to each
And
other.
I was a brash northerner.
Well, you came along and said this in an interview with the Daily Telegraph
Oh, what did
in
I say?
2001, which is your way of introducing yourself to
It's going to be bad, isn't it?
Well, is it? I don't know if it's bad or not. It's just funny. You just said, I look in the mirror and I think, yeah, you look pretty good, mate. Wait, it gets worse. I'm only halfway through. Hang on. I do pride myself on my appearance, and if someone thinks I'm sexy, that's great as well. Bring it on, baby. Now, it's not hard for me, with my old media hat on, to see why you may have rubbed up the wrong way against these classical purists, because they don't really do that. I mean, I couldn't really imagine Pavarotti standing in the middle of the Albert Hall one night, come on, baby, give it to me. But you, I could imagine doing that. So you were a bit of a shock to them, weren't you?
I think I was. But at the beginning of 2008, all that confidence, all that cockiness, the brashness had gone.
When you said before, I look in the mirror and I think, yeah, you look pretty good, mate. In 2008, when you looked in the mirror, what did you think then?
You fat bastard. No, it was awful. Because I'd piled on 3.5 stone. I had big clumps of hair missing out of my head because the radiotherapy makes... It doesn't make all of your hair fall out, but it makes the areas where they treat. So I had this great big bald patch here, 2 bald patches here and a big bald patch at the front. So, and I'd piled all this weight and my face had ballooned and I felt absolutely appalling. My throat was swollen and I felt difficulty speaking, let alone singing. And I remember looking in the mirror this particular day and thinking, I just wanted to turn the mirror around. I didn't want to look at myself. I didn't want to see myself and I didn't want to be me anymore. And I knew that I was going to have a bloody long fight to get back.
Are you or have you ever been a love rat?